Okay. Do we want to do a story I wrote when I was 10 before we move into the 12-year-old Narnia journal?
Yes.
Okay. So, I was singled out in class because we had just learned a new word. It was kerfuffle. And I was the only one who found a way to incorporate it into our stories because we had to write a story that took place in the medieval era because that's what we were studying. I did the classic twins that switch places in medieval era. And so the boys...
The Parent Trap.
Yeah.
Ye old Parent Trap. That's exactly what it looks like.
So the kid is training to be a page, but then he gets smallpox. And his sister has to take over. I remember it as being much longer than this. I don't know how long this is, but it's like 4 pages. And I wrote it like in an Irish accent or a Scottish accent, even though...
I used to do that too.
Really?
And I'd even write in narrators that had an accent.
My gosh. But this is the catch though. I didn't know how to do a Scottish or Irish accent, so I kind of got the lilt. Okay, it starts with dialogue. Are we going to read the whole thing?
I don't think so. That's a lot.
Oh, they're wonderful, Patrice. Couldn't get any better if you ask me, lassie. But one's a girl. Yes, and beautiful, isn't she?
Are they talking about the twins? That's
Yeah.
so creepy.
When they're being born. No, I mean only a boy can become a page. Well, well, we'll just have to think about that later now, won't we, Robert? Mr. and Mrs. Davies had just had their first children, fraternal twins, Melinda and Geordie, in Scotland. Oh, they're Scottish, okay.
Melinda and Journey?
Geordie.
Oh. Like, they named him after what would become his father's favorite band. He's what they call ahead of his time.
Geordie was sent to become a page, and Melinda, well, she'd just have to come along with him and help get his things organized.
And then if she was a good girl, she could get married at the age of 2.
Probably. Chapter 2.
Oh.
Ellen stumbled out the college door.
Who the fuck is Ellen?
I don't know. Today was the day the kids would be sent to live at a castle and serve as a page for Sir Firestone. Which I did not know was a tire company. I promise. But Mother, I don't want to go. Sir Firestone sounds like a very fierce name at that. Geordie, he's supposed to sound fierce. He's a knight. That's why he's called Sir. I was also a very literal child. And Melinda. She knelt down beside Melinda and looked into her eyes. It's going to be fine. Don't you want to be with your brother? Melinda nodded, tears filling her eyes. And besides, what could go wrong? Star, 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 star.
What's the star?
It's a transition.
Oh, I'm like, is that foreshadowing? Like, pay attention to this part. It's important.
Okay. Get in here. A very mean face with sausages for arms and legs pushed Geordie and Melinda into the craziest room you'll ever see.
But I won't describe it.
I am. Here it comes. It had earthy walls, an earthy floor, and an earthy ceiling. Hanging from above was what looked like an old chandelier covered in cobwebs. Well, I'm sure it was an old chandelier covered in cobwebs.
So a sod house? Like earthy walls?
Yeah.
Earthy floors?
Off in one corner was a slab of wood covered with a tattered rag and a straw-filled sack. This must have been the bed.
It's a sod house.
That strange place smelled of fried potatoes and rotten bread, for goodness sakes. What a place for a page and his sister to sleep! Exclamation point. Chapter 3.
No one cares about Melinda. It's great they gave Melinda a bed.
Melinda wobbled over to a corner of the room and lay down. She preferred to sleep on the soft soil than on that board. She drifted into a light sleep. In her dreams, she thought about how she and Geordie had climbed into that enormous coach. Their mother, Ellen, waving a handkerchief into the air as she said goodbye. I watched too many movies.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Melinda tripped and was falling. Then she awoke with a jerk. She hated dreams like that.
Well, maybe if she didn't sleep on the floor, she'd sleep a little better.
Melinda saw Geordie was asleep too, and in a deep one at that, because she just couldn't wake him up. Chapter 4.
Kate, Melinda, that's fucking rude. It's the middle of the night.
I think this is when she finds out he has smallpox. Geordie, wake up! Wake up! Melinda was shaking him. She knew Sir Firestone would not tolerate oversleeping on the first day of being a page. Just then, a horn sounded. That meant the pages were supposed to report directly to the tower for their first lesson. Melinda, now shaking Geordie, frantically begged, "Please wake up!" Geordie rolled over and moaned. His face was as pale as a ghost, covered with... Ooh.
Pox?
Yeah, but it just says covered with, comma, and he was fire hot. I think I forgot to put in the pox part.
But he was hot. This is turning a little Game of Thrones.
Melinda's heart raced. How could Geordie be a page if he was ill? Then an idea popped into her head. Could it be that perhaps she could disguise herself as Geordie
No,
and pretend to be a page? Well, she'd just have to find out. Melinda quickly took off her skirts and put on some of her brother's spare clothes. Then she sneaked into the sword room, stole a dagger, and cut her hair.
The sword room. And then proceeded to copy Mulan.
Yes. And cut her hair that was the same length as Geordie's. Suddenly, the horn sounded again. Melinda scurried as fast as she could go.
How does she know how to act like a page? It's not like she went in to
No,
practice.
because she,
with it.
goes to training, because apparently it's first aid training. So she scurries to the tower. She found Sir Firestone. You're late, he said. I'm sorry, sir. I shouldn't have. Well, in that case, we should start. After all, we haven't got all day. I think they do, actually.
They're supposed to do it all day.
I know.
Sir Firestone doesn't sound like an asshole. He sounds very, short-circuited.
For the next week, Melinda learned to count up to 20, which I think was real. I think this was based on what we learned. A little bit of math, and how to read. Even though she tried to deepen her voice and act as man-like as possible, they're kids.
Yeah,
man.
they're 10.
Prepubescent, yes. Sir Firestone knew there was something wrong about her. And then one day, Melinda accidentally said something in her normal voice. Chapter 5. Just then, Geordie came wobbling into the tower. Am I late? He asked drowsily, and then fell over. He looked much better now.
Geordie's just the representation of me in 2021.
But very tired. What? I knew something wasn't right. Sir Firestone was raging. He grabbed Melinda by the scruff of her shirt and faced her so that all the other boys could see. What do you make of this? A girl pretending to be a page. The king should have your head for this. The other pages looked stunned. They had never seen Sir Firestone so upset before.
Really?
Melinda said, starting to cry. You're what? Screamed Sir Firestone. Sorry.
You're what? Sorry.
By now, Melinda's sobbing was out of control.
Fuck.
Sir Firestone dropped her to her knees, and she buried her face in her hands. Sir Firestone and the boys left, leaving Melinda. Oh my gosh, it's almost done. Leaving Melinda and Geordie alone to sleep there.
Ending?
We gotta wrap it up real
I feel like
fast.
someone dies real soon.
No. The next morning, Melinda and Geordie were sent home and were not permitted to live at the castle anymore. Chapter 6. A month later, a letter was sent to the cottage. It read, Miss Melinda Davies, we are pleased to inform you that after a long discussion, we have come to an agreement to let you and your brother come back to the castle and have you both serve as pages. The end. Okay.
But they didn't continue to train as pages.
Right.
This is some main character bullshit.
Okay, you want to do Narnia Journal?
Sarah, age 12, Narnia Journal.
We're not going through the whole thing.
Just the juicy bits.
The juicy bits, as it turns out, I wrote a lot of odes at this age. I got real self-aware real fast, and it kind of resulted in me being kind of self-righteous. Like, it's really fancy.
I still write like that. When I have to write, it's just like a very pretentious outlook on my life because I'm scared that one day my grandchildren will find my diary and then read through it. And I don't want them to think, oh my god, she was so angsty. So I guess I'd rather them think, oh my god, she was pretentious as hell.
Yeah, I'd take angsty. Okay, that's a song. We'll probably just read the Ode to Spring and away we go.
You wrote an ode to spring? Did you rip it off?
Actually, no.
Okay.
But it's cheesy as F.
I'm ready.
Through the long, endless months of winter, it is either chilled, cold, or freezing. Either a whiteout in a blizzard, or brown, dead otherworld. But one day, as I stepped outside, the bright, clear sunshine mixed with fine, fresh, warm, lovely air spread over me. A gentle, friendly breeze blew across me and tickled the leaves. Leaves! Little baby green leaves. Also buds.
What do you think the buds are, Sarah?
Peeking out in the garden. And, oh, on the bush, which I am so used to seeing bare, little soft pink blossoms. And on the ground, I have a lot of exclamation points.
You're just as excited as every middle-aged man during the Renaissance.
Shiny, twinkly, soft, thick, luscious emerald carpeting. Grass. This, what I have just showed you, just described to you, is the simple yet wondrous miracle of spring. This miracle is what makes waiting and living through winter worth the while. Wednesday, May 9th, 2007.
Thank you, Percy Shelley.
age 12.
I want people to know how old I was.
I think it was
when
for...
I described spring for the first time, unlike it was ever described before.
Stuff about, like, respecting Mother Earth, which I'm all for, but just not like that.
Hippie Sarah sounds like an interesting one.
Oh yeah, I was a flower child. It was really strange.
It's like if you didn't have theater to express yourself, I could see you as like one of those hemp grandmothers.
Yep.
You're still 35, but you dress like you're 64 with like an eternal knee brace.
I have an ode to sun somewhere.
Most of these sound like stolen titles.
Sunspots. Ode
An
to
ode
sunspots.
to sunspots?
Yeah, ode to sunspots.
Okay.
When sunshine shines on my face, this is how I feel. Ah, the sun. so soothing, so calming, promising me everything will be nice.
This is like the one monologue from Romeo and Juliet. It's like,
I have an ode to dandelion.
I mean, yeah, ode to sunspots was that it?
It was very short. Oh, dandelion. Some people think you're weeds, but I think you're beautiful. With your gorgeous tiny little petals and your bright, sunny, cheerful yellow color. And when you turn white and I blow you for good luck, you take lift and gently float away. Yes, so this is the last one.
Okay.
Because I don't think we need the snow story. I read through it. It wasn't as good as I remember. There's a clarinet thing right here. There it is. Clarinet. The vibration of the horn. Its sound lost in the deep, immersing music. Clarinet. Okay. Well, thank you, 12-year-old Sarah.